We are hunting Hellcats. Lots of them. There is another one. Okay. What to do? Oh, I saw him on the left. And another one. Two of them. That was bloody glorious. One shell, two cats. Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the PAKwagen, aka the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-4. And there is a very specific reason why I make a video today about this fantastic vehicle. And before I go into the actual discussion, which will come later on, I want to show you two extremely nice scenes just to show how important this tank or vehicle, whatever you want to call it, is. So I see a tank to my right. I do not get into the capture zone to not alert him. I go around the stuff in front of me and not through it. And the Walker Bulldog never knew what hit him. Now I'm going through it and you can see the engine power is not the strongest. Now I capture the point. By the way, if you use this vehicle and you up tier yourself, you get this Skill Matters award quite often, to be honest, quite often. So I tried to find the enemy Walker Bulldog, the second one, and actually hit it a bit too in front. But we quickly reload. Reload time for an ace crew is 5.9 seconds. That's nothing to be ashamed of, especially for this monstrous gun. But sadly, he escapes, and I must not waste too much ammunition on this guy, and I need to keep on going. So yeah, what's there? Oh, there is another tank coming. Can I swing the gun around? He's hesitating, and I one-shot him. That was another Walker Bulldog. And there is a T-29, T-34, I'm not quite sure, and I just couldn't get guns on target, or a gun on target. And he shot. Now he is so dead. Oh, that shot just disappeared in the void. But we have great maneuverability, but lack of gun depression is an issue. But we take out the gunner and the loader. He hits us with the machine gun and we take him out with a shot through the side by knocking out the crew. Please notice how the ammo rack didn't get damaged too much. There is another Hellcat and is feasting on a panther. No, 3 cats, just 2 could come out. You see all the puns. And yeah, that was another nice kill. So let's see how it goes. And there is the other Walker Bulldog. Cats and dogs are not very nice together. But sadly, that's the end of my rampage because there is a British tank. If I would have known the vehicle at this time better, I might have just gotten gun on target. But sadly, that's it with this up tier rampage. And well, time to move on. Now, this scene is even more hilarious because it's me against, I guess, half the enemy team. So we're going up here the sleeve. Or the slope rather, sleeve, bullshit. And we are lucky that we see the enemy tank in the shape of an M36 Slugger before he sees us. Again, skill matters. And then we see a Sherman. We stop in time, we are reloaded, we one-shot the enemy team. Good stuff, good stuff. So what to do now? What to do now? Shall we go in? Yes, we go in. And we can see a lot of tanks shooting, being busy, fighting for the bridge, the round C. And I want to take them on one by one, and that's a good thing. If I would have opened fire, I might just have given my position away to this Hellcat. You see, Hellcat is a very popular tank, isn't it? Yeah, well, this one was. 3rd kill, just like that. Triple strike. And there is an M26, and he has not seen where the Hellcat got shot from, and we aim carefully for the hull, not the turret, and we one-shot him. Really nice. And we retreat, and again we change position. Why? Well, maybe somebody else has seen us and is looking for us, and so we are giving ourselves better odds than if we would not do this. And there is another M26 and another one-shot, and that's an ace, just like that. Just like that. And we get shot into the rear, probably an SPA. We have to flee, and I go into a position where I then can look around to expect the enemy, and this is where now I run into a position that I actually didn't want to go in. It's too close to the spawn, and the enemy dunked his shot, and I punish him for messing up the aim, but I didn't see the M16 SPA, and I got killed by that. And you know, those were really fast battles. It was fun to play, and I did a lot of damage. I interrupted and messed up the enemy's play, and this is of such great value that we now can go into the actual discussion. So just a quick explanation, what is this tank, what is this vehicle, how can you get your hands on it? First of all, it's a premium reward vehicle from the last summer event, and it didn't look too amazing up until the point that you had a look into the German tech tree and realized, goddammit, something like this is missing for the Germans. The other nation that is currently lacking something like this are the British. Yeah, out of all the nations, the British are lacking something. And in the background you now see some amazing gameplay, and that is at its own battle rating of 3.3. Well, this is an absolute monstrosity of a seal clubber. Why? Well, let's talk through the stats of this vehicle. We have a relatively similar vehicle in the German tech tree in the shape of the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-2 at battle rating 2.7, which is designated as a light tank, to which I will come in just a moment. This vehicle is a tier 2 battle rating 3.0 premium reward vehicle, and it has the name Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-4. It's labeled as a tank destroyer, and it really packs a mighty punch. We're talking here about the so-called 75mm PAK 40-3L46 with 36 rounds. And this is, for all intents and purposes, like your Panzer IV gun, except it has around about 12mm of more penetration, so 147mm. Mass velocity is actually not that high, with 792 meters per second. The warhead is nearly the same as on your Panzer IV, so under 30 grams of TNT equivalent. Fuse delay is 1.3 meters, but the fuse sensitivity is 15 millimeters. That is Russian level of fuse sensitivity. So you nearly never overpenetrate, which is great. And this is why you just damage so many vehicles so hard. Furthermore, you get a heat shell for lightly armored potato trucks, 450 meters per second muzzle velocity. You can hull break them, and you even get an APCR with 197 millimeters of penetration. This APCR with nearly 1000 meters per second muzzle velocity is actually worth something, because at this battle rating there is a lot of flat armor. But what tank is there in your battle rating range that you cannot penetrate with the Panzergranate 39, APCBC, APHE shell? Well, it's just maybe for long range shooting and by shooting through the engine. So yeah, this is the tank. And now let's talk about the German tech tree situation and what it's missing. The German tech tree is missing light tanks, it's missing mobile tanks, and it's missing, well, the ability to spot. And the difference is great. Again, the British have to be mentioned here. All other nations are somewhat saturated with the light tanks or tanks that have the ability to, you know, flank the enemy and harass them, and also have very good guns. The Germans are not so lucky, despite the huge potential for tanks and so forth. But the tech tree is looking like this. So we have the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-2, the so-called Puma, at 2.7. Where is the next light tank for the Germans in the tech tree? Well, it's at tier 6, the Begleitpanzer, with a battle rating of 8.7, which is massively over-tiered. Also, this is one of 3 vehicles in the German tech tree that actually can scout. So that's a 6.0 battle rating gap between the 2 German light tanks. Wow, just wow. Yes, there is also the RE251 with a battle rating of 6.7, but that is a premium, and a premium should not be there to fill a gap in a tech tree. It should be something additional, you know, additional experience, not something that you require to do, that you require to have. Furthermore, with a decent amount of mobility, MKPZ M47, again premium, 7.3 battle rating, but it cannot scout. Jagdpanzer 5, fairly mobile, fully upgraded, but not a nice battle rating of 7.0, horrible stock grind with the APCR, bad gun handling, turret traverse is like on a Jagdtiger, yeah, and then the Leopards, horrible stock grind, and after that everything gets up tiered into 9.0 battle. Anyways, yeah, there is the KPZ-70, and if you don't have the AP FSDS round, then you're not very competitive against the T-64s, so think about this. So it actually doesn't look that good for the German tech tree. The reason for this is Germany never got compensated since its introduction, together with the Soviets, for the power creep, but the Russians got actually kind of something to fit into the new meta. Their tanks were more mobile than the German ones in the first place. There were balancing issues in the first place as well, but the Soviets never lacked mobility. They have even potato trucks that they can artificially up tier and rush capture zones, so to speak, to then bail out and then to get into COS planes. And Germany never had this option. Not a single German tank is able to do so below battle rating 6.7. Even the Puma has its problems because it has wheels and not tracks, so it cannot deal very well with inclinations, with water, with muddy terrain and so forth. And the Soviets, they have also this light tank line with the more or less new additions, ASU-57, very well-known troll vehicle, PT-76, ASU-85 even, SU-100P, but the most famous ones are the Object 906 at 7.0 with a stabilizer, APHE, and heat 6.0 second reload for an ace crew, not vulnerable to hull break. So it does have everything that you want and more. Horribly undertiered. BMP-1 at rank 6 with a battle rating of 7.3. And their medium tanks and even the heavy tanks are really mobile, so the Soviets do not need kind of more mobility, but the Germans desperately need. Now, why is this important? Well, let's discuss it from the perspective of the old meta 6.7. Stay with me, it all will make sense. So 6.7 for Germany was that battle rating where they were once the gold standard. Then the Super Pershing got introduced, and the Super Pershing was not competitive or as competitive as the Tiger II in terms of firepower and also the armor protection. With the mobility, they were kind of equal, depends on how you look at it. But then, T-29 and T-34 got introduced, and they raised the armor protection and also the firepower, and to a certain degree they were equal or even better in terms of mobility. And then the IS-6, well, from there on, the story. So the Germans got power creep in terms of firepower, and also the armor is not that much worth anymore, with all the heat FS at 6.7 and even below going around, autoloaders, gun stabilized systems, constant up tier, and yeah, the Long 88 never got compensated for the additional armor that it has to face. And then Germany does not even have anything to support the flank, and this is very crucial. The French are so easy, especially with the new bigger maps, Maginot Line. You never get into an effective position with the Target 2 to make use of your long range capabilities and your armor protection that is actually pretty good at range, where you then can slug it out with, in theory, a T-29. But no T-29 would ever face a Target 2 on open field at a distance of around about a kilometer, where the Target 2 actually has an advantage. So yeah, and you know, 6.7 got ripped apart for the Germans. Panther got nerfed, additional weight, less horsepower to ton ratio, and got up tiered to 7.0, where it now gets up tiered very often into 7.7 bracket, where its armor is you know, not that much worth. It has no stabilizer, still the same reload as in the beginning, and slow turret traverse. So you can see where this is going, right? And I know there are fantastic tanks such as the Ferdinand, Sture Emil, Jagdpanther, but to get them into position to protect their side is difficult, and other nations just have the tools to troll German vehicles. It has become a hobby of players to hunt down German tanks and to get the God of War award against Leopards and RE251s and whatnot. I mean, I've done it myself, and it's so damn easy. Then include to that the L7 APDS and its ability to deal with Soviet tanks, the Hash nerf, the long stop grind for mobility, and the heat shell, and you have also the Leopard taken out of the race, except if you throw a lot of gold at it. But that is not the peak, so Germany cannot spot enemy tanks. So you actually lose in the information battle. You lose the flanking battle, you lose the battle in the race for the caps, so for the objectives, and then also enemy you know, troll vehicles just get in there, get into planes, and then planes are swarming around, bombing you, crippling you, and further slowing down your advance. And when you got taken out at this battle rating, and even below with the Tiger and the Panther and so forth, you know, you don't have any kind of spawn points left for fielding a competitive tank in the shape of a light tank that can excel through repositioning, spotting, and shooting up enemies from the side. The fun part is, this tank that I'm playing currently could have been a solution, and as you can see in the first place, you can up tier it. You can up tier it, and this possibility has been taken away by Gaijin by introducing it as a rare reward vehicle. So what are the options that we now have for the Germans? Well, instead of giving buffs to something like a Tiger 2, well, it could really need the that the fuel tanks don't blow up anymore by when the turret gets penetrated by even a small APHE shell, which is kind of ridiculous, because Soviet vehicles don't blow up. I mean, when have you seen a KV-1 blow up or a T-34 blown up when the compartment fuel tank was ruptured? I haven't in a while. So there's that. So add a light tank line for the Germans that also has the ability to spot, and not as premium, but as a normal tech tree version. There are, you know, options such as Panzer 58 Mutz, Panzer 61, other variants of the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234, for example a /1 or the /3. /3 got the name Stummel, then making the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-4, the PAKwagen, available again in multiple events so that more people have access to it, because it got rarer and rarer by the day. People move on to higher battle ratings, people move on to other nations, people stop playing the game or take a break from it. So the vehicles that are already distributed between the players got rare and rare. Somebody at Gaijin either messed really up with implementing stuff for the Germans, or is highly afraid of giving the Germans mobility, because suddenly players could work together. Players could achieve stunning victories and have fun by playing the Germans. At the moment, the easiest solution is to just not play the Germans. But this makes a big hole in the RB feeling for tankers, because if you don't face German tanks on your side or the enemy side, it's not that great anymore. And then the allies just would fight each other. And even the nation that could have brought a solution to this problem, namely the Japanese, are no longer bound to play together with the Germans. I think this is a shame, and something needs to be done. I've mentioned this before, I will mention it in the future. I mention it as long up until the point that something is done about it, and something really needs to be done about it. So a quick look at the results: 77,000 civil lines, 6,300 research points, survivor award, and so forth, with nearly 2,800 score points. I had a very big impact on the game, and yeah, good result. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this whole topic. I think something has to be done urgently, and it's up to you to bring this up to the forums, to discuss it, and to just show Gaijin that we, the Germans, want light tanks. We have enough armor, we have enough firepower, we have enough power creep. Now we need to get competitive again. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.